Check that mic, sir. Make sure we can hear you. Want to plug
All
in
right.
anything?
Is that? Yeah.
I
Huh?
can hear
This
it.
is the. My
Anybody
cadence
else?
does not vary from this.
Excellent. Right, come on, audience. Are you ready for the second piece of the evening? Make some noise. Nate Waggoner, are you ready?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nate Waggoner with me in 3, 2, 1, begin.
I want the stand so I can like. I want it there so I can do it like that or like. I think this is. My friend Daniel said that when he lived alone, he felt the same way people eventually feel about their roommates, only he felt it about himself. Like the way you start to think, like, what the hell is wrong with you? You had to leave the milk out on the table before you left for 2 weeks to like focus on your inner energy. I never said that, Nate. I said my grandfather died. Well, I'm sorry. You have my condolences, and I feel like a really bad friend for not paying attention to you when you were probably telling me about something really painful in your life. Were you too close? I mean, it's like, that's kind of how he felt. I mean to say, he started to hate himself as much as you start to hate your roommates. Like, why the fuck did I leave all the dishes piled up and the back door open? So now there are squirrels in my sink. Squirrels who just stand there and look at me defiantly as if they know instinctively how much of a fraud I am. I've never lived by myself, but I trust Daniel on that one because he and I are basically, we're pretty much the same exact person, except the difference between him and me is that he likes the wrong version of Morning Bell by Radiohead, but he likes the Amnesiac one that's like, the like orchestral, like, release, really, that's the one that you like, idiot. I've lived in a lot of places though. I've consumed cities, learned their main cool streets. So much of being in your 20s, I feel, is being forced to memorize different cool parts of different cities and having to discuss them amongst your peers. And I have reduced in my sight their streetlights and windows to a single white blur, out dreaming, hooting and hollering, carrying around a dislodged street sign, letting it scrape a white line down the sidewalk at 2 a.m. In this way, I have used these cities and they have gone through me. But I know that to fall in love with a city and to commit to living in it are very different things. It's the difference between meeting a person and just visiting once, but then staying over at their place and walking around confidently in your underwear, opening a box of cereal and making yourself a bowl, sitting down to eat it on the couch next to their roommates like, y'all watch Girls last night? That's what it's like to move somewhere. If you saw all the weird stuff I do and think about every day, you would kick me out of this reading. You would all converge simultaneously and tear me down from this stage with torches in your hands somehow, suddenly, and just rip me apart. So here are some of those things. When Daniel and I were 12, we would walk around town, ostensibly looking for a woman who would let us have sex with her at the same time. We had seen a website. We had seen a website called tagteam.biz. Because they couldn't afford the, I don't know. In which it was with these two guys, Bearman and the Disgusto, who approached women on the street and beguiled them, and they would do it so that the Bearman would receive fellatio and the Disgusto would penetrate the woman from behind. And they would tell jokes during sex acts. We thought these guys were cool. But I think we both saw ourselves as Disgustos, not the bears. Every week Daniel's dad would pick me up and drop us off at the Downward Oaks Shopping Center, playing the Beatles on the car stereo, sometimes offering constructive criticism to individual Beatles if he felt like skipping a song. For example, not your best, George. We'd walk around and if we saw somebody we knew from school, we'd even tell them our plan. Cool, can I join? One kid named Matty Elmer asked once. Matty still cried a lot. He was worse than us. We told him to take a hike and we felt cool. There's something in my mouth. We weren't interested in girls our own age, only MILFs and teenagers. College girls were pretty sparse there. The teenagers, like 16-year-olds, wore jeans and little gray rock band t-shirts that actually fit them, and they had slightly better skin than us, no braces, smoked cigarettes. Cigarettes smelled like my grandmother's house to me still, because they were killing her. But your brain doesn't take into account that kind of ambiguity when sorting between good and bad smells. To me, it was just a good smell. In the hands of older girls, they were both comforting and stunningly romantic. 16-year-old girls to us seemed like great minds of our time, luminaries, visiting dignitaries from the planet sophistication. We sat there daring each other for hours to talk to these girls. Eventually, Daniel got a girlfriend. I wanted to ask her about tag teaming her. But her name was Chelsea and she was on the Model UN, so. But I think about it pretty often though, especially when I use tagteam.biz. Oh. The women rarely make repeat appearances, but are typically of the same porny type as they were when we were kids. And the jokes are the same, but both Bearman and the Disgusto seem markedly more weary and haggard and drunk and unvirile. That's me, thanks.